Over the next few videos, I'm going to play around with the gaits within a gait. So each gait really has at least three gaits within it. So you have your medium, which is kind of the middle, and then you have your collected, and then you have your extended. So each gait has a variation of that, and so we're going to play around with that. The reason why that's important is because the more variance you have within the gait, so if you can ask them to slow down and collect, that rocks their weight back, gets the shorter stride, you can, or if you go into a working or medium walk, that gets them to kind of step up, stretch out a little bit. And then the extended walk, trot, or canter, it's with all the gaits, it's really getting them to stretch and use their bodies. So each variation of that has a little bit different effect on their body. So being able to change that at will helps your horse to be a better horse, helps your horse to get more relaxed, softer, strengthen. Like if you're coming into the collected walk, trot, or canter, that really rocks them back, it still develops the strength. So the first place to start is the medium walk, or I like to think of the working walk. So again, it's the middle of it is, some people call it the medium walk or the working walk. I like to call it more of the working walk because it really is, what's the working walk of your horse? And that is, if you go out there and your horse is in a nice, relaxed, forward walk, what is that for your horse? And that's your working walk. That's kind of where you're going to start from. Nisa here, this is kind of her normal working walk. So this is kind of where we're starting from. And the other thing as we go through here I want to talk about is just another indicator is the footfall. In a working walk, the hind foot should land in the footprint of the front foot. That's a good indicator. Some horses it's going to be a little bit behind, some it's going to be just a little bit in front, or kind of in front of the front foot a little. You know, there's variations for each horse. So that's just something to keep in mind. More importantly, is the horse walking out nice? You got a nice forward walk. They're pushing off from the hind. That's a good indicator. See how Nisa's here, she's getting soft and relaxed in the neck. So that's a working walk, and now we're looking for her to maintain that. The other thing that can get confusing oftentimes when you change up from one to the other is the tempo gets faster or slower. So you might think of it is, my normal walk is this, and if I were to go into an extended walk, it doesn't mean I'm walking faster. The rhythm doesn't get faster. What it means is I'm just stretching my stride out. I'm taking a longer stride, but it's still a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So it doesn't matter how long it is, the goal is to keep that 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, 4 with the horse. If you were to set a metronome, that they would keep that. And each gait is either you're stretching it out, so they're reaching a little farther, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to go faster. In the beginning, oftentimes they will go faster. So you'll see here in a second where Nisa's sticky spots are. So if this is her normal walk here, and I'm wanting her to kind of stay out onto that circle, just get that relaxed and soft. Now I'm going to start to ask her to stretch a little, and can she give me a little longer stride? Can I start to get an extension? And I can't ask too much, particularly with online here, because if I ask too much, she's just going to break into a trot. So I'm looking for her to just give me a little bit more than what she normally does, saying, hey, can you step up? So I throw a little energy at her, say stretch out. And if I ask too much, she wants to break into a trot. And you'll see as soon as she breaks into a trot, her stride gets really short. So I bring her back down and say, no, it's not a trot. It's get longer, stride out, stretch your body, stretch your back out a little bit more. So I'm just encouraging her again to say, hey, can you stretch out there? Yeah, there was a little bit. So she gave a tiny bit, and then she went into a trot, and so I just bring her back. So I just encouraging her to keep stretching out a little bit more. Now, if I do this for a bit and it's not really changing, then what I will do is actually ask them to go up to a higher gait and just let her trot around a little bit just to help stretch her out a little bit at the higher gaits. But again, you see here at the trot, this is, I wouldn't even say this is a little bit slow for her working trot. So that's even a little bit slow. It's almost a little bit more closer to the collected. Now this isn't too bad here, so I'm just asking her to stretch a little bit more, and see there, instead of her stretching, she says, well, I'll just canter. That's going to be very common with a lot of horses, is they're going to, instead of get longer in the stride, they're just going to go up in gait. And at the moment, I'm okay with that. So there she's trotted a bit. Now I'm going to ask her to come back to a walk and say, hey, can you give me a longer walk now? Can you give me an extended walk? And you'll notice her neck gets a little bit longer, but there she wants to kind of just break into a trot, and I keep saying no. Yeah. So there's this line. Each horse has their natural ability. If you're working with a quarter horse, they're going to tend to be a little shorter stride. Not all of them, but they're going to tend to be. They're not going to track up. So getting them to stretch out, that's a little bit like her. And then you're going to have some of the horses, maybe it's like a walker or a gaited horse, where at a walk, they can really stride out. And going forward and stretching is not that hard. What's going to be harder is getting them to rock back and start doing a little bit more of the collected work. So each horse has their range of what is easy for them. The idea here is to start stretching them out of what's easy. So with Nisa here, I'm starting to ask her to say, hey, let's get a little longer stride. I haven't been really focusing on that a lot lately, and that's where recently I've been running into a few issues like, hey, I need to really start getting her to express in the gaits, get those gaits to lengthen and give me an extended walk, trot, or canter. Because it's really easy for her to get short strided and just kind of up and down. So you have to find where's that for your horse and then work on either stretching them out or slowing them down, or collecting them really is more what it is. So again, I'm just working on, can she get a little longer in that stride? And as soon as she breaks gait, I'm just like, no. And I'm softly just encouraging her to say, step up, stride out a little bit without it breaking into a trot. It's the goal. And actually this is a nice relaxed working trot. As I'm trying to get her a little bit of an extended walk, we're getting a better working walk. See, and as soon as she breaks gait, her stride gets shorter. And then I just say, nope, come back. Yeah, there. So it's not much, but it's a little bit. Her hoof print, her hind hoof print was landing in the front, kind of right exactly. For a couple strides, she was putting it half over the front foot. So it's just a little bit, so we're just asking slowly, saying, hey, stretch it out. And there she's like, I'll just keep going. There. That was nice. So she actually gave a little lick and chew. And it's not trot, it's just extending. And much of that is about how I'm asking, and or the picture in my mind of what it is I want. I'm saying I want just a walk, but a nice relaxed walk where it's kind of just this stretch and lengthen here. And it's not that I have to do that, I have to have a nice picture in my mind to help her, yes. Because they'll usually, the more relaxed they get, the longer that stride will become. But she's still saying, oh, it's just barely. Every time I ask for a little bit more, she says, well, I'll just break into a trot. Now, if she keeps doing that, how I can help her, at the walk we can do this on the ground, is I'm going to come on up here beside her, and then I can have more of a feel. So I'm just going to ask her to stretch that walk out, and she's like, well, how about we just go into a piaffe? I'm like, no, we're just walking here. So I can ask her to stretch a little bit more, and then I can catch her quicker to say, no, don't break into a trot. Yeah, not bad. So that's a little bit better. But that's what I'm going to keep working on with her over time, is just to help her get a little longer, stretch a little bit more. Another great way to do this is on the trail, when you turn around and you head back to the barn, they naturally oftentimes have that, and they're just really stretching out and moving forward. So that's what you're going to focus on. Sometimes going one direction is a little harder than the other direction for them. So it can be a little easier going one way than the other. So we'll just see if that's the case. And oftentimes it's the stiffer side that's worse. If they're stiffer bending this way. So she's still wanting to kind of keep breaking gait. So I'm gonna ask her up into the trot and just ask for a little more forward. Canter's okay too if she really wants to. But I'm gonna give her a little more space, let her out a little bit, and then just ask her forward. Can she stretch out a little bit more here at the higher gaits, where I'm not going to be as particular with her, but I'm just saying, come on, stretch your body out. Let them move out, move around. Yeah. Bring her in, and we're going to change direction and do the same thing this way. Just giving her a place to go, letting her body stretch out. And this helps loosen everything up. And then bring her back. She says, no, I just want to keep going. So I'm going to say, okay, let's keep going. Because she wanted to make that all when she wanted, so I'm like, no, be with me. And now I'm going to come down. She kind of just checked out. And now we'll, go back to a walk. And see where our walk is. After all that movement, see, and this can be also a good thing. Like Nisa here is a real sensitive horse. She was a bit anxious here as I was saddling her up and stuff. So just taking time with her at the walk and just getting her to stretch out can be a great relaxing exercise, not only physically but mentally. Helps her just to let go and release. So I'm just gonna softly ask, see if she can stretch a little more. So there. And we're still looking for rhythm. Talk about rhythm all the time, as that's our fundamental piece, is keeping that forward rhythm there. And just softly asking for a little bit more and a little bit more. So she's not really giving me much more length. She hasn't stretched out a whole lot more, but what she is doing is she's more rhythmic. So that's a good thing. So that's, you can use the going faster or the higher gait to help stretch him out. Another thing you could do is poles. Poles is a great thing, is what length of pole can they walk over that they have to stretch just a little bit more. And another thing is a little bit of terrain. Having them kind of go up and down a small hill can be helpful. Now we're gonna do, so we've did some stretching. So we went from a medium walk into just getting a tiny bit of an extended. We still have a lot of work to do on that. Now I'm grabbing a hold of the halter and just kind of slowing it down, so how she's kind of rocking her weight back, and I hate to say slow down because it's not even so much, it's not about the slowdown as it is about collecting. So with a collected walk, they're shorter stride, but they're stepping up underneath and they're coiling their hind end a little bit more. They're flexing the joints in their hips here, or in the hind legs, getting that to come up, carrying a bit more weight. The front end lifts up, and it's not just the head and neck that comes up, but it's really the wither and everything comes up. That's kind of what we're looking for here. So if I get a nice medium walk here, now I'm just going to pick her up a little bit. Yep, keep the walk going. Keep the walk going, but it's much shorter stride. Hold it there for a little bit, and then I can walk out of it. And then again, I'm gonna just put a soft feel on the halter here, saying, hey, shorten your stride, lift your wither up, head and neck up just a little bit, but keep a nice walk. Keep that rhythm. It's a shorter stride. She's flexing her hinds more. Good, and then I can walk out of that. And there was up right before she broke into a trot. She actually gave me some of her most extended walk up, and just asking for a little bit of an extension. Yeah, there we go. And halt. So that was some of her nicest extending. And you can see she kind of released there. And she's like, oh, softening and stretching and letting go. And that anxiety, so if there's anxiety in their body, there's tension in the back. If the back's tight, it's hard for them to reach and stretch up underneath. So go play with this, but first just kind of start. Where is your horse naturally? What is their working walk? And figure out what that is naturally for them. It shouldn't be, even if they're a slow, dull horse, it shouldn't be a pokey, no energy walk. There needs to be some life there. But then as the life's there, what's their normal gait? And from there, then start to stretch it. Say, can you give me a little bit longer stride? Lengthen that stride out. And then can you shorten the stride? Shortening, you're gonna get a little more concentrated. It's a little harder on the online to do this. We'll be going over more of this in riding, but you can even do it either riding or in hand can work. But you saw there, Nisa's real sensitive, so she was paying attention. You can do it in the halter, it's just a little harder. So just explore, play with that, and start to get a distinct, here's a medium walk or a working walk, and then here's an extended walk where they're just starting to stretch and stride out, where they stay relaxed and soft, that movement's coming through their whole back. And then can you get more of an up and down rhythm? Collected is more up and down, extended is more forward. So it's going between those two extremes is what we're looking for. Go out there, play with it. Let me know how it's working for you. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.